You're listening to QTalk Arizona, not exactly your grandma's podcast network.
Good evening, Arizona. It's 7:02 p.m. Phoenix time. My name's Clayton McKee. Welcome to QTalk Arizona. Tonight on my show, well, let's do the sponsors first. How about In Touch News, Phoenix Pride Community Foundation, and Equality Arizona Awards Dinner, our sponsors for this evening. And my guests tonight, you know both of them from QTalk Arizona, Joe Duganzek and Babe Kaler.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, everybody.
Okay, that's a little strange though, because this is what's the name of the show?
I thought it actually was called the Joe and Babe Show.
I've changed it.
Okay.
Well, you know, Clayton has a habit of kind of taking over the town, and we let him in the studio, and
that was your first. That was your first mistake.
That was the first mistake. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know, over the years in knowing this man and seeing him around, you have to watch out because, yeah, he can take over the stage, the microphone, the whole area. But it is the Joe and Babe Show, and we are honored tonight to have Clayton in the studio with us. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you. It's very cool to be here and I have to tell you, in all my years of doing many different things, broadcasting and live shows, this is the first webcast I've ever been involved in, ever. Okay. So this is very cool. It's a first for me. At 42 years old, I have a first.
A first.
A first.
And you used to be on the radio, right?
Yeah, that's where right out of high school, that's where I started. On an AM/FM combo out of Joplin, Missouri. And for those of you wondering where Joplin is, that's where the big tornado happened earlier this year. It took out about almost a third of my hometown.
My goodness.
Yeah. But no, that's where I started, right there in a small family-owned AM/FM radio station in Missouri.
That's really interesting. You know, I got my radio background at Stevens College in Columbia.
Oh, well, hello, Missouri girl.
So isn't that something? Actually, I'm a Georgia girl, but via Missouri, and now 20 years in the Valley of the Sun. So I'm a Phoenician.
Officially, of course. Okay, You're now a native because you've been here longer than a month. Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it now just, that's what it is, a month? It's not 10 years anymore.
I don't know really what it ever was.
Me either. But I'm here. I live in Phoenix, okay?
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm just super excited. I know we've been chatting for months, you know, to get you on the program and
to make this happen.
To make this happen. I think we're really, we were chatting before, this is kind of like over the next couple weeks, this is like the big coming out party for QTalk.
Yes, it is.
This has been like a labor of love for me, building it up, and then now it's really fantastic. Anybody going to be at Sedona Pride this weekend?
I will not be. I've got other previous plans.
Look at his hand just going up, okay?
But now are you
it's my vacation. This is my last day of work was today. So,
but are you taking QTalk with you? Or, I mean, obviously you can take it everywhere. It's on the web. But
right. We're going to be up there with In Touch, our wonderful sponsor, and we'll have all of our brand new flyers and some other stuff we'll be promoting there, our upcoming event, the movie event for AIDS Walk, and we'll be up there enjoying the festivities. Oh, that's right. They're a sponsor as well. We're sponsoring them. So go up to Sedona Pride. Even if you don't stay overnight, it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Oh, my gosh. And weather alone is going to be.
Oh, my goodness. 80 degrees.
Yes. Yeah. Not mad at all.
Okay. I won't be hating, but dang. Okay. I'm not going. Well, I was excited about this when we started planning and knowing that you were going to be coming on with us, and because you are a voice in the Valley, and we're really excited about having you on the show and knowing that the podcast was getting going and things were happening, and so we just wanted to know a little bit about you.
You can ask
Mr. Clayton.
It's no holds barred. But you know what? It's funny that you say that I've become a voice for the community, and I'm very proud of that. But it's the way that I got to it. It was something I certainly never planned on. It was never in my master plan. It was never in my focal point. It's just I made myself available in so many aspects to help, and it just grew on its own, basically, is what happened, in my opinion.
Wow, this is impressive. We're already getting calls.
Okay, see, I love it.
I'm a little concerned about calls.
Mm-hmm. Okay, why don't you just go for that first call?
And we don't
just
screen
go-
them, do we?
Okay.
We
No,
don't.
Well,
No,
we know who's calling, but it's actually we've never screened them. There is an option to do it, but I'm not sure how to.
After this show, we may have to
Okay.
invoke
we may
that
have
one.
to do that.
Okay, go for it.
So shall we go for it? Okay, caller with the last 4 digits of your phone number is 3235. You are live on the Clayton McKee Show. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hey, Joe, this is, and babe,
Hey.
this is Mike from the Magic Boys.
Oh, hey, Mike. How you
Oh,
doing?
hey.
Hey.
How do you do? How's it going?
We're doing great.
Hello,
Good,
Mike.
Good, good. And, how's it going?
It's good, Mike. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been busy.
That's
but,
good.
I was just calling and wanted to kind of touch on a item that's going to be coming up on September 18th.
All right.
Excuse me, real quick.
Everybody gets out there.
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
It's on September 18th. There's a Sunfish Pool Bash.
Oh, yes.
Which is being put on by the Sunfish. It's a gay and lesbian group, a swim team. That basically they're putting on an end of summer pool bash, and I'm going to be out there at the Clarendon Hotel, and we're going to be DJing out there.
I was going to say, are you a
$15
sunfish?
Are you
No,
a
I'm
sunfish? No?
Definitely not. But I have a couple of friends that I know that are on the team, and they're real excited about this because it's only the second time they've done it, and it's basically just to help them raise money for their team and their overhead for their costs and stuff like that.
Now, are you spinning for them during this event?
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
From 1. Oh boy, what is it? It's yeah, it's from 1 until 5. I'll
At
be
the-
out there. So for 4
Clarendon,
hours.
right?
Right.
The Clarendon, yeah. So
Poolside,
should be a
I'm
lot of
going to
fun.
imagine.
They've got about probably a good 100 coming right now, and then they've got a couple of replies coming and waiting. So, but I think
Fantastic.
their website is
I think it's
is
Phoenix Sunfish.
phxsunfish.org. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do a silent auction, raffle, prizes, full cash bar, food, and stuff. So $15 to get in. You get your first 2 drink tickets included. So I thought I'd kind of throw that in. And this was actually only the second time I've actually tuned in to the show. But the first one I really enjoyed, so I figured I'd come back. And then we were on the show last year.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thanks for calling in and let us know about the information, and we'll be sure and get the word out for you. That's September the 18th, so that
Excellent.
will be Sunday, right?
This Sunday.
A Sunday
Yeah,
fun
Sunday,
day at the
September.
Clarendon Hotel.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling
right.
in.
Thanks, Mike.
guys.
All right.
All right,
Have
bye-bye.
a good
Thanks.
night.
Bye.
Okay, I dodged a bullet on that because I was afraid there was going to be a question.
Okay.
Some intrusive question on that one.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you came out ahead on that. So we'll start this then with the aspect of
Yeah, you want to start off, babe?
who is Clayton?
Define the question. There are so many aspects. How do you mean?
Who are you? What's your story? Let's start on this before we get down to the nitty gritty because we got some stuff.
Well, that's
for
good.
you.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not sure what direction you're talking about. I can tell you where I come from, what my background is.
Okay, go for it.
Grew up in the Midwest. Obviously, I mentioned Joplin. That's my hometown. Came from, I would say I came from an interesting family from the standpoint of my father's parents were already divorced and both remarried by the time I came along. So I was born into 3 sets of grandparents.
Wow.
Kind of a gift because I just thought that was normal. So I had this grandparents and these grandparents. So I grew up in kind of an interesting situation in regards to that. So not only was I fortunate with that gift of having multiple grandparents and families to be around, I was also they were very diverse. I had my mother's parents who were together since I think they were married in 1941, and were married to the end. They were a little more traditional. They had a beef cattle farm, which I was raised on in rural Joplin. And then I had another grandfather and grandparent. They owned a nightclub and a restaurant, so I was kind of raised around that environment as well. Live music, the bar scene, and all the comings and goings to that. And then I had another set of grandparents that were he was in broadcasting and in the oil business. So I had many different varieties all mixed into my life, which was all very cool. And then I gravitated, though, more towards, even though I did get into broadcasting, I gravitated much more towards the simple of my mom's parents, of just, they were, my grandfather drove a bus for Continental Trailways bus lines for many years. Right, for many years. You remember it from down south?
Yes, exactly.
So he drove buses, and Grandma stayed at home and raised the 3 daughters. And I just really attached a lot more to that home life of, they were both home, and when Grandpa was home, he had his projects, mending fences and mowing in the field and doing all the stuff, which is kind of how I am now. I really am kind of a homebody. I take after my mom that way, and just like to stay home and do projects. So I grew up, I thought it was quite normal and quite simple, but as I branched out, I found out that my life was a lot different than a lot of other people's, and in some cases crazier or boring, depending on where you came from.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, that's my basis. I'm a small town boy from Missouri that moved to Phoenix and thought this was a big enough town for me.
Okay. All right, small town boy. That's the story.
There's another caller on the line.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Shall we dive into it?
Let's go. Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
What else can we promote?
Hopefully they'll have a crazy question for Clayton.
All right,
caller, last four digits 1785. You're on the Joe and Babe Show. Tell us what's your name,
there.
and what's your name, and where are you calling from?
My name is Marnie. How are you?
Okay, this is going to be good, don't you?
Mr. McKee?
hello, Mrs. Ryer. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Very well.
I'm happy to see you.
I needed to stick to the prom king of Phoenix.
Okay, Marnie Ryer, my dear sister, Marnie Ryer.
How are you, brother?
Well, I'm well. What is your? You could have just texted me. I mean, if you wanted to, but no.
I felt like that, but I wouldn't have gotten a response quickly enough.
Okay. Well, what is your question, my dear?
Well, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
My first one would be, out of curiosity, how you are dealing with everything that happened with the tornado in Joplin, and all your feelings on that. And the second question would be about your political leanings in Michelle Bachmann, for instance. What your thoughts are?
I think you're breaking up, Marnie. You're breaking up. I think. Are you going through the tunnel? Are you going through the deck park, Marnie?
Would you wish I were?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. We'll take the first part of this question and beat it up first. How I was affected by the Joplin tornado was quite amazing. I mean, obviously, that's a third of my hometown. That obviously, oddly, Marnie was with me late last year. She was traveling back from the Midwest, and I flew to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and drove back cross country with her. So we drove through my hometown.
Wow.
So some of the areas of town that I showed her from where I grew up were those areas affected. And one of the biggest ones, and it was a focal point that was on all the newscasts, the hospital that was in the background, St. John's.
Right.
The cancer center of that hospital is named after my great aunt, who was a breast cancer survivor. So the Corita Holmes, I forget the full name of it. So I was around that hospital my entire life. My mother's father had his open heart surgery in that hospital. That entire area, the house I learned to play piano in, I didn't learn. I took lessons and then I failed miserably. So anyway, it's very emotional. I remember sitting on the couch that day and just focused on the TV. I couldn't stop it. My cousin was back home, and he was calling me and texting me pictures and sending me stuff, and it was just unbelievable because I couldn't tell from intersections that I had grown up in that I knew I couldn't tell where they were because nothing was there. No landmark at all was there.
Nothing looked like before.
Nothing. And I'd grown up there, and I had done remote broadcasts from the radio station on this corner or that corner, or I'd driven by it 100 times. You could drive by it, blind because you just knew where you were.
Right.
But yeah, so very devastating. In fact, Marnie may be going back with me later this year. I want to take a trip home and see it because I've been told numerous times that TV cannot express to you what it is. The gravity of the damage and the destruction, there's no way that you can really absorb it until you see it. I certainly don't want to compare it to what happened on 9/11, but the ground zero for my hometown would be where the tornado took through. So yeah, it's not pretty, and I hear stories to this day of, fortunately nobody, knock wood, in my family, we didn't lose anybody. Our family farm is north of town, so that was not affected at all. But I know others who did. They lost houses and friends and family, so not good.
Small blessing in the middle of all of that.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And now, what is it, Marnie? You wanted me to talk about what?
That awful, Michelle Bachmann.
Yeah. No.
And your
well, I know Marnie, dear sweet Marnie. She's my cohort in crime and literally my sister from another mother. Even though both of our mothers are named Diane, there's many different similarities between Marnie and I. But I just don't like to do the political thing on a grandstand. I'm not that person. I'll be the voice for your fundraiser, and I'll be that. But I don't really like to delve into the political. There are other people who do that heavy lifting, and I think somebody like Marnie is the person for that, who stands up against. I think she's crazier than cat shit. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I think Bachmann is out there somewhere in left field, all on her own. Yes. And she can stay there, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, just know that she's in the Valley tonight for a fundraiser, and
stay away.
And she actually was at the TP restaurant last night, where they always seem to go to bring people in, like that's true, like Mexican food for people to experience.
Well, Bush ate there many years ago.
Yes, lots of people have come here and had that experience. But I just want to let you all know that she was here. No, we won't have a political comment on that.
No, I won't.
No. Right.
But nice try, Marnie.
I completely respect you, Clayton. I completely respect you. I just thought I would try while I had your attention.
I'll give you a call after this and we can discuss that. How about that?
I'm quite certain you will, brother. You're phenomenal. You guys have a great night.
Love you, Marty.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
All right, bye-bye.
Before we go on, why don't we do a little housekeeping and talk about our sponsors? And that might be a good thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got three great ones.
We've got three great sponsors. As always, we have In Touch magazine, which is our, what we like to call the premier magazine, the LGBT publication for Arizona. They're covering everything, not just Phoenix. They're covering, Tucson and Flagstaff and all the different areas, and they're picking, topics of importance. I don't know what the next one is, even though it comes out like tomorrow or the next day.
This one is This is on homeless youth, gay homeless youth, and it's a follow-up to a story that was done in 2006, actually, for In Touch News. So pick up the latest issue, or you can actually find it online right now at intouchaz.com and get more information on that. Another sponsor, Phoenix Pride Community Foundation. And Joe, why don't you tell them a little about that?
Well, Pride, as we like to say, is more than just beer trucks.
Okay, that okay.
It's more than beer trucks and drag queens. Is that really what you're trying to say?
Exactly. We coined that a couple weeks ago. It's so funny because that's become our new thing now, and we love everyone at Phoenix Pride, and we're not really we're saying this with love.
Yes.
Okay, we are saying this with so much love.
And Phoenix Pride does what they do. I know I've talked to some people who question why it actually costs money to get into Phoenix Pride. But at the end of the day, the money pays for not only the things that they have to do to put on Pride and to keep the organization running, but to give back to the community in the form of grants and their own sponsorships and scholarships.
I've not personally been involved with the accounting of Pride, but for the love of God, what they put on, what Brandy Sokolowski and the entire board put on every year, ain't cheap.
Right.
No.
Holy cow, there
It's
is so much
expensive.
going on. I mean, you have sponsorships, I realize. All of the different vendors and people bring in, but my gosh, to put up that whole park for that, all the
I know.
staging,
For that.
to bring in entertainment, and no, that's quite an undertaking.
And
That's
for
true.
all the other events that they do throughout the year, the gala, the Mr. and Miss Phoenix, the Gay Pride,
Right.
and now of course coming very soon, which they just announced like a week ago that it's going to actually be at on Sunday at Rainbows Festival, is Out Day Phoenix.
Right.
And the 3 selected individuals with the selected coming out stories are going to be on QTalk Arizona on this very show in late October.
Oh, cool.
And we're also doing something to kind of tie in with that. We actually had decided this before they announced that they're putting Out Day Phoenix at Pride, but come to the booth at Rainbows Festival, our booth that'll be shared with In Touch, and we're going to be recording coming out stories, and we're going to pick our own favorites to be then played throughout the month of October for National LGBT Awareness Month and National Coming Out Day and all that good stuff. And
Right.
we've got little stuff to give away. We got great wristbands. We're going to have stickers, flyers. We can't give away anything else because we don't have enough money. But anyways, but we can give you, if you come to do a coming out story, we'll give you a fabulous wristband.
If you'd like to sponsor QTalk Arizona,
okay.
email
Okay.
Email us. That's right.
Okay.
Actually, you can now
You can
donate.
you can and you can email us at jnb@qtalkaz.com.
That's
you
right.
think we're playing,
No.
don't you?
Right, we
Okay.
can do it. And actually, and we just did this about 2 weeks ago or so, because you know what, we got our own expenses to take care
Okay.
of. You can donate through the website right now.
That's
All
very
right.
cool.
And you
Oh.
can just set it up on a recurring billing, $5 a month. I mean,
Okay.
$5 you go to Wendy's, get
No
a hamburger.
kidding. Really?
Okay.
You can set up an auto?
It's all through PayPal.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
See?
$5,
See?
$10,
We moving on up.
or make your own donation amount.
My God,
Right.
does Barbara Seville know these things can
Okay,
happen?
you
Because
know,
I can
see?
see her. I can
Okay.
see her getting somebody on a recurring payment
Okay.
plan.
See there. Also, let's
You
talk
never
about
know.
our third sponsor real quickly, and that's Equality Arizona, and their awards dinner is coming up, and they're honoring some great people, community awards, national awards, and one of those is another sponsor going back to In Touch News, who will be receiving an award as a community leadership. So Gina and staff at In Touch News, that's very deserving, for them. So, and also if you want to call in, give us a call at 714-409-0608. But we're going to get back now to Mr. Clayton, because see, he's in the studio, and we want to be sure that Mr. McKee gets all of the attention that he can tonight while he's in here
Absolutely.
with us. So we're going to take this to a different sort of area.
Anything. It's open. It's
Okay,
open.
and so we sort of thought about this, and we're thinking, okay, how can we do this? Because people think that they know certain people in the community just because they see us out and about and we're doing a show or we are sponsoring or talking about this event or that. But, when it gets right down to it, you have some nitty-gritty questions that people want to ask, and nobody will actually ask them, but we will.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
we
do it.
will.
All right,
Yeah.
babe, give it to me.
Okay, so I want to start out, and we're sort of going with the Proust questionnaire that's done on in the Actor
Actor
Studio.
Studio.
So, sir, what's
Yes.
your favorite word?
My favorite word.
Yes. Ooh.
My favorite word.
Yes. God,
I've never thought of it. I know what my favorite swear word is.
Okay. Well, that might come later. But give me your favorite word.
Gosh, I'm totally stumped. That's
See?
that's really difficult for me. I think part of it because I have used so many words for so many years. I don't have a favorite.
Joe's, what's yours, Joe?
My favorite word?
Favorite word.
Lately, this is so stereotypical. Lately, it's been the word fabulous.
Okay. All right.
I enjoy the word. Don't get me wrong. Wow.
Ooh. Because, see, I'm going to give you on mine, and I'm going to say it the nice way, because it's punani.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's my favorite word.
Wow.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I just don't.
To nobody but me, because I love it.
All right. Well, good.
Okay,
Well, that's good.
it.
I don't
Okay.
have a favorite word, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Can we? Let me write. Oh, mark this
Okay,
down.
right.
Let's
Mark
come
that
back.
down, and we'll come back to that one.
Word. All right. So we'll
Okay.
come back to that.
Okay, Joe,
Yeah.
you go for it, because you got some that.
Yeah,
I
Joe's
got-
been kind of
yeah.
quiet. Why is this, Joe?
Well, I got to run the show here too.
Okay,
At
all
the
right.
end of the day,
We need a
I
technical
producer.
director. If you'd
I
like
know.
to be a technical director for
If you'd like to
QTalk Arizona.
volunteer and be
Okay.
paid $0,
All right.
or you could just set up a donation
Right.
and pay
$5
Right.
a-
Pay
Okay.
us.
Pay us
Right.
to let you do that for us.
That doesn't make any sense
Okay.
at all. Oh, well.
And we'll still love you for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Here's some questions. We used to do this on my old podcast back in the day, and so here's.
I love it when people your age say back in the day,
Back in
because
the day.
that was like
I've been-
4 weeks ago.
Right, exactly.
For me, back in the day was the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Well, this whole medium has just been around for. I mean, I've now been podcasting for almost 3 years.
See?
Whether personally.
Okay, so back
or
in the
now.
day was
back
3
in the day,
years
3
ago.
years
Look at
ago.
that.
Oh
Okay.
my God! Holy crap!
Okay.
Okay, so
okay.
I
so
had
this
less
is-
gray hair 3 years ago.
Okay. See.
So here's a good one. What is the biggest misconception people have about you?
That I'm loaded.
Ooh.
Loaded wealthy.
Okay.
I don't know. No. Wow. I think one of the misconceptions I've always had, and maybe it's not a misconception so much as I believe it is, I think there's a very big difference between being honesty and being a bitch.
Okay.
So don't ask me if I like something or not, because I will tell you. And if you don't like the answer, that's not my problem. You ask the question.
Right. You
That's
asked
right.
me.
So wanted to know.
I think one of the misconceptions about me is the fact that I'm just terminally all the time just a jerk about stuff. Again, just don't confuse honesty. Now, also, I will read a bitch. I mean,
Okay.
I will speak my mind on many a topic and whatever. But I think that's one of the things that I am just. People do think that I do nothing but look for bad in everything, and that is really not the case at all.
No,
Absolutely
and
not.
I understand what you're saying, because I will preface a response to someone when they question me
Sure.
about something with, "Are you sure you want the answer to that question?"
Right.
Okay, and then they look at you like, whatever, and then you say what your answer
Right.
is, and then they're sitting there looking really dumbfounded that you said what you said.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Many different people in different aspects or different capacities have asked me, what did you think of this? What did you think of that? And more than once have I told a performer to please never get on stage again under any circumstances.
Okay.
And they keep performing, some of them.
Okay. Woo.
We had some comments from the chat room, which we just my touchpad just had to reboot. So, anyways,
Okay.
Bor, and I'm thinking this is a friend of mine, anyways. Saying this isn't public radio. He can curse, and then Joe, your favorite word has always been fabulous.
Okay.
Is this Matt from Pennsylvania? Please let us know.
It probably is.
It probably is.
It is. I'm sure it is. Okay, I got one for you.
Okay,
then.
go.
Okay, but are you ready to go back to your favorite word yet, though? Because, see, I'm not going to let that one pass
I have
tonight.
I have a feeling that my favorite word and my favorite swear word are going to be the same.
Well, just go ahead and.
Okay.
I mean, there's not about.
We're not.
This has been the longest time I think I've gone in 20 years without saying fuck something.
Okay, see, there you go.
There you go.
Say it. Say it. Say
That's
it.
There's
gotta
no.
be-
There's no
Okay.
FCC regulations.
Okay. All right, then. So I'm ready.
There are no
It was
that's
Matt,
right.
yeah.
There's no FCC immigration. Right.
So,
Yeah.
what turns you on, sir?
Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to turn this back. Tell me in what capacity.
No, I want to know what turns you on and what turns you off. And you take it wherever you want to go.
All right. What turns me? Some of the stupidest things make me excited or happy.
Okay.
And I know Marnie's listening. My mother's listening. And if I don't say this, they'll all get mad at me. I collect vacuums.
No, you don't.
I have 11. I think currently I have 11 vacuums.
No, you do
yes,
not.
I do, and I have 5 lawnmowers. So I have this thing about, and I have an insatiable desire to fix and repair stuff. So
Okay.
if I find, and classic story is, a few weeks ago I was driving down Central next to a dumpster, was this fantastic vacuum, and I'm like, okay, it looks perfect. What's wrong with it? Literally found out it's a $150 retail vacuum. It is 2 years old. All that they had done was clogged every filter in it. I cleaned everything out, and it works perfectly.
Okay,
So-
now how did you know the value of this particular model?
Google.
Okay,
Google.
I was just checking, but I thought that was what you did.
I didn't know when I saw it. I just knew when I got it home.
Because I was a little bit scared for a minute. Okay,
but
all right.
Anything that I can repair or fix, or anything that I feel that there's value in, or still purpose in, I get excited about that, and I take on projects and I do it. So I think that's one of the things. One of the things that always excites me and kind of turns me up or ramps me up. One of the things that I don't handle well and does turn me off greatly, and I always associate things back to like the closing of Winx. Anything that closes or ends or stops that is of such an importance of something like that. Anything that I like to preserve things. Like when I moved out here from Joplin, I brought with me our family's farm truck. I have it here with me to this day. It's a 1961 Dodge truck. Okay. I drove it here. But the fact that I removed it from the family farm broke my heart, because I was contributing to dismantling something that I cherished so much. So that turns me off. Anything where it's like when I drive by and I see a building that unless it's in a horrible state of repair. I mean, if I just see like a building that's gone, I'm like,
what happened?
Yeah, what happened? Yes. What's the deal?
Yes.
Not that I don't want to be progressive and I don't want to move on into the future, but I just, I like to preserve things. And in Phoenix, it's classic. There are several discussions in regards to how Phoenix just tore down stuff long before they realized that they wish they would have saved it, therefore taking out history.
I've heard that.
So that, I don't care for it so much. I wish people would have a little bit more vision and realize, in 20 years, this is going to be a great building. We're going to wish that we saved this for an architectural reason, for whatever purpose. So those kind of things turn me off.
Okay, cool. Well, see, and again, we're getting into a point because people think that they know people and they don't really know people, and that's one of the things that our goal here on QTalk Arizona is to open people's eyes and minds and tell them a little bit about people they think they don't know. Sure. Be informative. Go see. I
understand. Being around the industry, the broadcast, and I've had wonderful opportunities in my entire life to meet so many amazing people, celebrity and otherwise. But it is interesting what people's perception of someone is. They think they know them based solely on the onstage persona,
right?
And they really don't know. Once the lights go down and the sparkly jacket comes off or whatever, I'm waxing my own floors at home and I'm vacuuming my own house, and it isn't all glamorous. It's what they believe you to be, and some people really hold that in high regard. I'm fortunate that I have a lot of people that I surround myself with who have been around me forever, and they do know me inside and out, and they understand that. But again, there are those other ones that, I'm hosting something at a bar and it's over, or an event, and somebody comes up and wants to talk, and they think you're still that person.
Right.
And they forget that, you have feelings and or you have a life other than...
And that we have everyday things to do, too, and we got dirty laundry.
My car breaks down.
Okay.
And, yeah.
That's it.
The APS bill still shows up at my house, too.
Okay. It surely does, Okay, Joe, go for it, Joe.
Who inspires you?
Mm-hmm. When I was younger, obviously before his passing, he does still inspire me to this day, is my mom's father. When my grandfather passed away in the late 90s, it was horribly devastating to me, because he was, I do come from a divorced family. My mom and dad were divorced. The interesting thing about that is my brother and I come from two different marriages for the two same people. My mom and dad were married and divorced and had me, got remarried and had him, and then were re-divorced. Anyway, my biological father really wasn't that much of a participant in my life. Her father really kind of absorbed that. He taught me how to drive. He taught me how to use power tools and how to fix fences and paint the barn and do all kinds of things. And he really did inspire me. And to this day, and I know my mother, if she was sitting here, she'd agree, there are so many aspects of him ingrained in me just because I was around him for so much.
Right.
So he still inspires me. The question was who, right? Is that what you said? Who inspires me? He does. The other one that does inspire me a lot, and I know I don't tell her this nearly enough, but it is my mother, because I watched her for so many years as a single parent, and I literally have no idea how she did what the hell she did, because she raised two boys through a lot of crap. And I don't remember ever wanting for anything, ever. Now, granted, the other interesting part of that is I knew that my mom was a struggling single mom, and I did everything I could. Like, I remember at 13 years old, I thought she was going to kill me because she came home one day. Our washing machine had failed. The water pump had failed in the washing machine, and I had never taken one apart in my life. The neighbors next door to us at the time worked at Sears, and I'm like, well, this will be easy.
Right.
You know, I'm in 8th grade. I get off the school bus. I get off the school bus at 3:30. I can have it apart by 4. I can have the part called in. They can bring it home. They'll be home by 5:30. Mom gets home at 6.
You're done. Right.
Okay.
No, it didn't exactly work like that. Mom got home, and the washer was all over the utility room, and I do remember her looking at me, and she said, if you don't put it back together, I will kill you.
Oh.
The next day, the part came in; it was back together. So, those, she does inspire me. She did so much, and I don't remember ever wanting or needing anything. And she, through my adult life, has always been there, has always been supportive of me. And I know a lot of friends of mine and a lot of people in our community who don't have the privilege of having their parents or a parent involved in their life, and I'm very fortunate with that.
Yeah, a mother's love.
Absolutely.
A mother's love.
Yeah.
All right, that's wonderful. All right.
Go, babe. It's your turn.
Yeah,
It's your turn,
Well, what
babe.
I'm going to do right now is take us a little bit to the fact that we've got some other things coming up, and we're looking, we've got a movie fundraiser coming up
That's
at
right.
Film Bar. AIDS Walk is coming up.
Uh-huh.
And the fundraiser at Film Bar actually is a
is
fundraiser for
AIDS Walk.
For AIDS Walk Phoenix. And the movie title is You Should Meet My Son. I'm calling it a dramedy because it's a combination comedy, drama, coming out crazy story where a mother learns that her son is gay and decides that she's going to find him a boyfriend.
Oh, my mom
Yes.
knows better than that for me.
Okay, but that's going to be on Friday, the 23rd of this month. There's going to be a showing Friday at 10 o'clock, then Sunday the 25th at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
So you can check that out online, qtalkaz.com/events.
That's right.
And learn more information about that.
It's going to be a great time.
I
It
think
is.
so.
I have seen the movie. It is absolutely hilarious. It's just knocked down. I can't wait to be there with everybody because it's just going to be nonstop laughs the whole movie. It's totally awesome.
Good times.
All right.
Good
sounds
times.
Okay, so my next question is, what sound do you not like?
Well, I think I speak for a lot of people. Nails on a chalkboard.
Okay, mine.
Certainly not fond of being in a restaurant or anywhere really where babies are crying.
Okay, screaming kids.
Don't
Right.
tolerate that very well at all. Being mechanical and it was being raised again around farm equipment and tractors and trucks. Listening for anything that doesn't sound like it's working right. That just drives me
Okay.
up insane. It really does. I mean, if I can hear a squeak from 100 yards away and find it, I mean, it just annoys me.
Okay, see that's really bad because there are certain sounds that I hear as well, and my wife says that my hearing is like I can hear a mouse pissing on cotton. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I can hear those little sounds, and it's like
Right.
get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Where's that dripping coming from?
Right. Or that
Okay.
little squeak.
That little
or-
squeak,
right.
and that when the air conditioner kicks off, and you're like, what the heck is it?
Right.
Is it?
Those things.
Those things do drive me
Little-
crazy. You're right.
All right, now what sounds do you love?
Conversely, I love the sound of an engine or something that is just firing and working perfectly. I'm a huge music fan. So fortunately for me, I've been raised with, again, I had mentioned earlier about the diversity of all the different families. So I was raised in a Midwest, country bar.
Okay.
And my mom's parents were very much more into like the 40s and the 50s, that genre of music. So I love music, and I have my iTunes is all the way across the board with everything. So I listen to music all the time. In fact, I have an iPod in my house that I just throw random stuff on, and it literally plays all day long. Even if I'm not in the house, when I walk into the house, there's music.
That's wonderful.
So I just love music and singing, and it's somebody who can really sing. I mean, we have a lot of
Not
people.
sing, but
Not-
can sing.
not
Sing.
auto-tune.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody who can belt. I
Okay.
mean, somebody like Beyonce, I don't follow all of her stuff, but
Okay.
bitch can sell a
Okay.
song.
Yeah.
All right. Put
but
it
then
out
you go
there.
back to something like Judy Garland or Rosemary Clooney or Ella Fitzgerald.
Exactly.
All of that. And again, I have my mom to thank for a lot of that. She had a lot of great jazz and blues music around the house growing up. So I got to listen to a lot of that. Now, granted, I'm an 80s child, so we can't escape the Culture Club and the
That's
Wham
true.
and
That's
all of
true.
that. So I'm very much into that as well.
What about you, Joe? What sound do you like?
Let's see. God, that really caught me off guard, and I wasn't even thinking that you were going to do that.
See?
I would say, that when things are operating normally, maybe, you know what? Here's something. This is something I probably really should like, and I do enjoy it. Is sounds of nature? Thunderstorms and rain, because I live in such a technical world with all the IT work that I do, and it's so sort of electronic and mechanical that it is really wonderful. In fact, where I live, there's a fountain underneath kind of the in the courtyard, beyond where, kind of a little bit beyond where my apartment is, and there's just enough of a sound leak with the doors to my patio in my bedroom that every night it sounds like I'm falling asleep to rain. Because there's a little
It's
fountain.
odd that you mention that, and a lot of people who come into my house think I'm nuts. I have 2 cats, and if you've ever seen me check in on Facebook, Maggie and Marty, it's because Maggie and Marty own the house. I just live there.
You
with
just
them.
live
I
there.
finally
Okay.
figured that out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Barbara Seville thought it was a restaurant for the longest time. I'm like, no. In my house, I created, using a filter from an aquarium, I created like a fountain, a water fountain for the cats, because it's proven fact that they will drink more water and it keeps them healthier because they're attracted to the running water. But the beauty of that, more than just that, in my house is there's a continual sound of
nature.
life.
Wow.
That sound of that. Somebody came in and thought that I had done it as a feng shui thing, and I'm like, can't even spell that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. So no, it's just water was life and it sounded good. But you're right. You kind of fall asleep listening to that.
Yeah, and it is very relaxing. I mean, it's for me. I mean,
Totally.
I even have 1 or 2 of those thunderstorm CDs that I would buy like back in the day.
I do miss sleeping to rainstorms back home though. That was
Wow.
that
Oh,
is
I
nice.
bet.
Yeah,
I
that
bet.
was good.
I was trying to think if there are a few things that I really enjoy. It's the sound of children's laughter, that happy sound from kids,
Right.
young babies,
Innocent
yes,
happiness.
Happiness,
Yeah.
exactly. The sound of the ocean,
Okay, good.
and I think the other thing would be, I love to hear the sound of my own voice. I just want you all to know that. I do
Well,
like that. Okay.
we hear
Okay.
it every week.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know
Thank
why.
you.
Speaking of laughter, I don't know why I overlooked that, because some of my best friends know this, and we will sit for hours on end and find ourselves in a corner of a bar with a jukebox or whatever, and just literally 5, 6, maybe 10 of us for 6 hours and just laugh and enjoy and talk and about every topic under the sun. But just so the laughter, I think
Yes.
I miss it. That really is.
Yes,
it has to be.
it's a stress reliever.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
is, and people don't do that enough, just like laugh. But that innocence of a child and that happy sound for me is one of the things that I just love.
Yeah,
I just love that.
As long as they're not crying, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, see?
I figured I'd mention, and this was something that from what people don't like, Matt says, people clipping their toenails or fingernails.
Oh,
Well, if you're not doing it in public, where are these people doing this? I mean, I think there's a private time to do any manicuring, and that's above and beyond
And I'm
nails.
like, yeah,
Right.
not in public, people.
we were in a restaurant one day
Shut
and looked
Really?
over, and this woman was literally clipping her fingernails. And I just wanted to get up and move because I didn't want a flying nail over
I
in
was,
my
I was taught years ago by a friend's mother that I'd never done a manicure pedicure in my life, and she learned me
Okay.
the beauty of going and having that done.
Don't you love it?
I am on board. I am
Okay.
on board for that as often as I can. I treat myself to a little mani-pedi because that's where it's supposed to be done.
Right, because that was just truly nasty to know that somebody was sitting over
In a
that
restaurant?
Okay,
That
yes.
is wrong.
Yes,
People
Wrong.
do
it
it
was. It
at
was.
home.
I know.
What a
Wrong.
What a
That's like
remind-
your manscaping. Go do whatever you gonna do somewhere else,
Right.
or manscaping, or stripping up. Let somebody do it in a shop, a salon, or
Right.
somewhere. That's it.
The privacy of your own home.
Right.
Want to remind people, please, we've still got some time left of the show. Call in 714-409-0608.
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Okay.
Plenty of time, and you know what? We can run a little later if we want to.
Right.
That's the beauty of this, I guess. This whole webcast thing.
I love it.
Give me more. I need another question. I need
Okay.
some, we're just getting started.
Okay, going back to the sunfish thing. This was on my old
Really?
list.
We're going back to
We're going back to
All
the
right.
sunfish. So, would you wear a Speedo in public?
Hell no. I don't even wear them in private. Why would I do that?
And that was an 80s thing.
I guess.
That was an 80s thing.
It's a European thing, actually.
It is.
Yeah, no.
Europe is much more.
No, there's a list of things I will and won't do, and that's on the
Right.
not to do list.
Okay, Speedos are Andrew Christian. You can just, any of those little bitty tiny.
I'm
little-
actually, I won't even go shirtless. I won't go to the pool. I won't go out. You won't ever find me that way. So not even Speedo. I mean, if I'm in cargo shorts, that's about as small as it's going to get.
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
There's a pool party up at Sedona Pride. I might
Apparently,
break-
there's one at the Clarendon on the 18th.
Okay.
Yeah, I might break out the Speedo for that.
My mother has a
Pictures.
Uh-huh.
pool. My mother has a pool at her house, and she loves it, and I'm glad she has it because that's all she wanted. But I'm good.
Interesting.
not at all.
Interesting. Okay, what's the next one, Joe?
It caught me off guard. Let's see. Here's a good one. What is a place you would like to visit most in the world, and why?
Wow, kind of a challenging question for me because I'm really not a big traveler.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier I kind of like to stay home, and I continually have projects there. So getting me to go on vacation. In fact, I have other friends who are like, let's just take off and go here or there. And I'm not.
I know it amazes me. Some people are just like, oh, we're going here and there. I'm like, how do you afford all that?
Well, it's not even affording it. It's just I don't like to. You pack up all your stuff.
Yep.
Well, you have all your stuff at home, and then you condense it. Like George Carlin used to say, you have a smaller suitcase of your stuff.
That's true.
And then you go somewhere else. And then you have so I don't like living out of suitcases. I don't like doing all that. I mean, I don't mind going to San Diego is good, or LA, because they're relatively close. Palm Springs I've had a good time in. I've only been to New York City once, and that was a whirlwind that I did in '93 when I did the Maury Povich show and all that. But I just don't really like to travel. I do, however, guess I've heard a lot of beautiful things about like the Caribbean, the beautiful water, the weather. If we want to talk about boys, I probably need to go to either Mexico or Brazil because I have a feeling I will never come home.
Okay.
Probably Brazil. A friend of mine is already trying to make plans to go in a year or so, and I'm like, okay, well, all right, I'm on board. But gosh, I just don't. There's no place that really draws me. I think it would be important as an American to go to New York City to experience Ground Zero and the Memorial. I think that again, I want to go to my hometown for it's an emotional thing. But yeah, I don't really have. I've been to Graceland 15 times. I've been to a lot of different places. I just don't. I'm not a big traveler.
Let's actually for 5 minutes here, because I know we've done a little bit about this on recent shows. September 11th obviously was Sunday, 10 years ago. September 11th happened. Yeah, and you were saying being there for Ground Zero. I haven't actually been back. I had visited there. I think it was in '91 or '92 because my family originates from New York, even though I wasn't born there. And it meant more to me because I had been to the Trade Center. I had been to the top of the building, and
I was never there when I visited.
Even though it's it's a building, people can have that. It gives you that more of an attachment and meaning. So the morning of, I get the phone call on a landline compared to these days when we find everything out electronically, that it had been destroyed, and you're looking on TV, and I was like, where is it in the skyline? Because it's just gone. It wasn't destroyed; it was completely leveled.
Right.
And it's just like, wow. You think about that obviously the 3,000 plus people who died and the tragedy that it was, but it's like these massive buildings that are just there are just gone. People just think that this is so strong and it can be taken out, and that part affected me. Obviously, it's a New York kind of thing. And I would like to go back now that the memorial is now open. They've got it as a fountain in the footprint of each building, which is really, I think, a really beautiful way to memorialize it. I can't talk. Along with all the names being on the various inscriptions on, I think, a wall that goes around it. What were both of you doing on September 11th, 10 years ago?
The morning of September 11th, I was literally, I had to be at work, I believe 6:30, I think 6:30 in the morning, and I was literally backing out of the driveway and heading down the street. And what I always did, I'm a big talk radio person. It sucks that Phoenix doesn't have that much talk radio to listen to of quality. Anywho, that's a little political opinion, isn't it?
Thank you.
Except for us.
Okay.
Well, I meant broadcast, not.
That's
I
true.
can't get web in my little 20-year-old truck. However, I was on my way to work, and I remember hearing, they broke in, a plane. And again, I'm thinking it's a single-engine commuter, some idiot just wasn't sure what he was doing. That's what I thought it was. But obviously, driving across town to where I used to work, we learned more. And I just remember the entire day, just nothing happened. Like, phones did not ring. We just were frozen in time listening to the news reports of what was going on. And then, obviously, once the collapse literally happened, it was like, just go home. We're done for the day.
It was a very different day.
It was a different day.
It was, you're right, frozen in time.
Yeah.
It really felt that way.
It's interesting because the wife and I were discussing this even yesterday as to... She was trying to remember how I heard, because she's one of those insomniacs that, she's up early or she goes to bed and then gets back up, but she's always CNN headline news and on MSNBC first off. So she had the television on and was on the computer right as things were breaking news happening. I got up, walked into the room, and felt immediately that something was up, because just this aura around her. And then to look at the television, to see it going across, that the second plane just hit. And I look and I see this and I'm like, oh my gosh. And you're right. It was a day of total... We all became news junkies at that moment, whether you saw people walking down a street where there was a television on, people picking up newspapers, whatever. And then to know that as the day went along, hearing more and more and more, it was just one of those things that you couldn't believe, or me, especially one growing up and being a seasoned individual, that it could happen here. Something. This is the United States. What's happening? This doesn't happen here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
Yes, it really was.
And something that Matt brings up in the chat room, and I think perhaps, and maybe this is the way it is, and everyone sees this differently. And he's an EMT out there,
right?
And he was also saying that he currently has no desire to actually go see it, but also thinks that maybe 10 years on now, that is it time to sort of move forward, because we don't want to be stuck in fear and panic. To let that, obviously the U.S. itself has to be vigilant against potential future attacks. But I even had seen some stories about New Yorkers saying, you know what, this is all great, but we're ready to move on. We've New Yorkers, rebound, very, very well. It's, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Well, I think you have to factor in things like, Pearl Harbor and all of the other national tragedies that have gone. I mean, the world doesn't stop because of Pearl Harbor Day. We remember it.
Right.
We thank them for their service and their time, but we all move on. Life goes on.
Yes.
Because if we stop and we stay stagnant, they will win, and that's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I think we will look at it, and that's a great point to bring up, Matt, too. That I think as time goes on, within the next 5 years or so, things will not be as present as they are now.
The wound is healing.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Right.
But it's still is a wound for some deeper than others. But it's I think it was a good idea that they did do some recognition and not just let the day pass by.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I felt, there was such a unifying moment the day after September 11th.
Yes.
And no one in all of the reports of everything that went on this past week, no one truly talked about how we as Americans came together, even for just that very short few months of unity there that we had. It didn't matter what socioeconomic background you came from, what color you were, what part of the country you came from. As an American, there were flags flying everywhere. There were people just, blowing their horns in support of good old US of A. And what about that? No one talked about how that was a unifying moment, even though we've slipped back a whole lot in 10 years. Okay, 5 steps forward and 25 back. Okay, but I was a little disappointed in that aspect of this whole celebration.
And to some extent, it was also a little bit worldwide for all the allied countries, and even others feeling that, yes, we've had a tremendous loss,
Right.
And it was for the few months, and then it just kind of petered out, and we've kind of gone backwards.
You said petered. Anyway, going on. Okay.
Moving on
to something.
Okay, I know.
Happy
Okay,
cheese and rice.
It's the Joe and Babe show, and that's part of why you listen to us, because you never ever know what you're going to get.
Hear.
You don't know what you're going to get. So, but I've got one more for you, and it was I think it was one of those good ones that Joe had up here. Speed cameras or cops?
I think cops. Okay. Yeah.
It's the uniform. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, not very. No, I mean, really, if Big Brother's just going to watch us forever and ever and ever, what's the point of it? Just, let's have vigilance out there and let them catch all those bastards.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of stuff behind that. Yeah, I would rather have a cop pull me over than a camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Okay, and I've got one that I just thought that this was one of the ones from in the Actors Studio that was one of those great questions.
All right.
And you take it and you're like, huh. So, if heaven exists, okay, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Here's the show sheet. Here's the lineup. Go.
I love it.
I mean, it's basically that's going to be it. I'm going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to heaven.
I know. I was waiting for that because I could hear you saying that. I could hear you saying that.
As long as I get there's an open bar and my mom's the bartender, we are good.
Okay. All right.
That is awesome.
I love it. What about you, Joe? Come on. Talk to us. What is it?
What? I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Okay. Okay. See?
Oh, wait. No, I have it in front of me.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm not even paying attention.
See?
What would you like to hear God say? That you were right all along. Your parents were incorrect.
Okay. That's a good one. I like that. Oh,
no passive aggressiveness here on QTalk Radio.
No.
I've moved past it, but there's various things.
I was just looking at is one of the things that I think I'd just like to hear. Job well done. And did you bring some pound cake?
Okay.
Because pound cake's like my baking specialty. So
there better be Oreos in heaven for the love of God.
Oh
my God.
Hello.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Pound cake and some greens. Okay. I know I got lots of relatives
God,
up
you
there
are
already.
You're making me
a Southern
hungry.
girl.
Okay. It's like, some greens and some pound cake.
You're going to
That's
kill
it.
my diet for the pool party.
That's okay.
In heaven, there is no diet. Hello.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
You just automatically don't gain, you just look, everyone's
exactly.
perfect.
Yeah. This has been a great show tonight, and I think too that Clayton, Mr. McKee, that if there, what would you like to share with the audience tonight as we are getting ready to wind up? What would you like to share? What little tidbit would you like to give to our listeners tonight?
Gosh, I would be. It sounds cliche, and there's somebody in this community that uses the line, "You can't have new school without old school." All right. I'm quoting the one and only Miss Ebony.
Okay.
And Ebony's got some miles on her, and she knows what she's speaking of.
Yes.
One of the things that again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is preserving things. It's really interesting to me, as you mentioned, you're seasoned. I am seasoned myself. When I meet young men and women that come into that are up and coming in our community, and they don't know. They don't know where we've come from. They don't know the struggles, and I will be first to admit I had few struggles, very, very few. I'm a very blessed man when it comes to that in regards to the coming out process and being who I am and so on. But they just don't realize what people had to go through to get to where we are. And I'm glad that they don't have to focus on that, but still it's when they hear stories of, bars used to get raided, or, they used to do drag shows, but they could only do them and nobody could know about them, or all of these crazy things that we hear about that were real. It's just interesting to me that they just have no grasp on what. And I guess I shouldn't pigeonhole it. It's not just the gay community. It's everything. It's women's rights. It's, it's blacks. Mm-hmm. It's everybody. Nobody. Everything is a lot more free now, and a lot of people just forget about where they came from or where their roots are. So I think that would be the biggest thing. Pay attention.
Right. You got to know where you're coming from to know where you've been and know where you're going.
Absolutely.
And we talk about that all the time, because my thing is it's all about education. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if nothing else, at least a tidbit that you will get from us weekly. We hope that it will be, you will learn something that you didn't know.
Exactly.
How much more time do we have, Joe?
Okay.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God, we'll be here all night.
Okay.
We'll be here
order pizza, kids.
In the morning.
Okay.
I just getting warmed up. Order pizza, and we'll just be here all evening.
Okay, no, we can't do that because I got twins. Okay, okay.
Babe's got to go. Yeah.
One of the things in reference to gay history that broke my heart that I couldn't preserve. 7 years ago, when Winks closed, that was a bar that was there for 20 years. I worked there for the final 10 years of that bar. When we closed, and for those of you who were in Winks and remember, closest to 7th Street, there were booths built into the building, kind of in front of where the stage was. Underneath those booths was about a space approximately a foot high and maybe about a foot and a half deep. What they did, a lot of it was used for storage. Under the seats of the booths, they would store Christmas decorations and various holiday grid. But what happened over the years was people would sit in those booths, and a piece of paper or a flyer or an Echo magazine would slide behind them. So when we closed, we pulled out the first booth and found out, and I have an Echo magazine from, I forget what the year was. There's a flyer for the 4-year anniversary of Winks featuring Tish Tanner and Davina and Miss Ebony.
Oh my.
So what I always wanted to do was get back in that building, and I wanted to, if you will, excavate those booths.
Of course.
And because that was like a 20-year time capsule of
Absolutely.
gay history. There were flyers and cards that people had written to one another, and notes, and ticket stubs from movies or events, and I just always wanted to preserve that because I thought, wow, what a great snapshot of a 20-year span of a little cabaret bar.
Isn't that something?
Where so many people got a start of their life. I mean, I totally got a start of my life in that building, but that's one of the things that I wish that I could have preserved so that I could say to people, here's where we were, here's what we've accomplished.
Right.
And I couldn't do that. The people that owned the building would never let me in it because they didn't grasp what I was trying to do.
What has that building become now? Is
Nothing.
It's still vacant?
No, it's actually the building next to it. It's called the Toby House, which is honest to God, I forgot what they really do, but they own the building. They bought the building over the course of time for the lease of Winks. And now it's a thrift shop. They've turned it into it's a thrift shop. It's a fundraiser for them, for their charity. The funny thing to me is that it, in some aspects, it was a dress shop for many years.
Yes, it was.
And it still is today.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's very important, I think, for people to share their stories. And that's why we like bringing people like you into the studio, because there's so much that people can learn and think that they know, but they don't know.
Oh, I'm going to expect to be back about once a month now, okay?
So we love it.
Let's just schedule these out.
Okay. We love it. But again, we truly appreciate your coming in and sharing with us tonight.
Oh, I'm glad.
Total fun.
Yes.
Total fun.
Yes.
We should do this more often.
Okay.
We absolutely should.
We will.
I'm on board.
All right. You've been listening to QTalk Arizona with Joe and Babe. And by the way, and with Clayton, and if you all haven't seen Joe yet, look for him this weekend at Sedona Pride, because he's getting ready. He's going to be at the pool party. He's got new hair. Okay, Hera, hallelujah. Okay, so look for him there. All right.
Definitely come check us out. I think it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to a relaxing weekend. Don't forget the movie fundraiser coming up. All the other kind of cool stuff, and don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows on the QTalk Arizona network. We are your LGBT podcast network for the whole state of Arizona. Thank you for listening. and we'll chat with you very soon. Next week, we've got Don Hamill from Rainbows Festival. So that's it. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Clayton.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Dave.
guys.
Thank you.
Good night, Arizona.
Good night.